How's everyone doing, guys? Cody, guys, back again for Dr Anna Kotova's punishment in a global context module students, criminology students at BCU. We're on to question 9 of 12. What would you say, what advice would you give to the youths who are heading in a direction which may lead them to being in prison? This is probably the most difficult question I've ever been asked. In any interview I've ever done, or any other walk of life. It's a very, like, I'm anti-police, but at the same time, I would never actively encourage anyone to commit crime. And I actually, on my Facebook, and because of these vlogs, I get a lot of students messaging me, and people that have committed crime, that are in danger of going to prison for the first time. And I've tried to guide them, give them advice, just trying to keep them out of prison, trying to keep them out of a life of crime. The one lad just got sentenced last week and stuff. He's trying to change his life. He's very lucky not to go to prison. And he's grabbing it with both hands. And it was the fork in the road that he needed. Rather than going down the wrong tracks, he's on the right side of the tracks for now. I hope he continues on that track, and I'll be keeping tabs of him. But what advice would I give to a youth, right? If you're still in school, please embrace your education. The reason I say that would be because having not been academic in school, now I wish I had some qualifications behind me, some skills and training, so I could put it into practice in the free world. But I don't. So I would like people to learn from my mistakes. All the crime and stuff like that, and the criminality and everything, one day you'll be held accountable for your actions. So please think. You'll put your family through the mire. Prison will do more damage to you than good. And if you don't care how big and how bad you are, if you think you can handle it in prison or a young offenders institute, you end up in prison. And there's always someone bigger and badder. When I was a kid, when I was a youth, I thought I knew anything and everything. I was one of them kids, right? Soon works out that you don't know anything about anything, right? But please stay in school. Gain skills, gain training, further education, go to college, get a trade behind you. There's a distinct lack of trades in this country. You can earn far more money in the long term by going through legal means, through skills, through education and stuff. And like I say, you can earn a lot of money and you can be successful in that career. Don't go the way I did. Don't go into the firearms, the gangs. Don't carry knives, because death's an occupational hazard as well. The death rates and stuff, that I think there's, so far this year in London alone, there's been 24 deaths at the hands of knives alone. 21 of them have been black youths, 3 have been Asian. So yeah, I fear for anyone that had come to me and be like, oh yeah, but you can get women and the champagne lifestyle and the money and the watches and all that comes with it. Right, yeah. You can also get shot at, stabbed, end up in prison, end up murdered. What you put your family through will be immense. Like, when you're in prison and you're selfish and everything like that, your family, you've got to pick up the pieces, right? It affects them emotionally, mentally, psychologically, financially. Don't do it. There's a better way. Don't do it, man. Please. I would, honest to God, anybody that was thinking about going into a life of crime, right? I've been there, I've done it, I've worn the t-shirt, right? And if I was able to turn back the clock to go back to when I was 14, 15, I would have done it a different way, right? But like I say, I fear for the youth of today, with fewer police on the streets, with like youth clubs closing down, funding being cut, things like that. I fear for the youth of today, I really do. It's quite apparent that places are unpoliced. Community police stations are closing down, and like I say, the youth of today are running feral. As a former criminal that's out of crime, it scares me. If I was I am a law-abiding citizen now, but it scares me for people that have never experienced crime and everything, and in the current climate, because moped crime, acid crime, gun crime, knife crime, just crime across the board is going up, and the youth will capitalise on this and they'll grow into it and stuff. And the reason I got involved with crime was I was always the black sheep of my family, and I wanted to belong. That's why I was from a broken home. I was the outcast. I was the black sheep of my family, and I wanted to belong. And then, like I said, I grew up watching these documentaries on crime and gangsters and gangs and everything and became involved in all of the above. But I wish, looking back, I've always had a vested interest in like psychology, forensic psychology. Criminology is probably more broader subject than I could have ever imagined. But I like to understand why people do what they do. But don't do what I did. Don't watch something like glamorize like these depictions of crime and gangsters and prison and all this sort of stuff. I was fascinated with it, but like an idiot became involved in it. But yeah, the youth of today, my advice would be embrace education, put your knives down, pick up a pen, study, read, educate yourselves, because crime, one day you'll be held accountable for your crimes, and prison will do you more harm than good, and prison's just not a place to go. They're not nice places. And yeah, just do it another way. Don't learn from our mistakes, right? Been there, done it. There's another way. Please find that other way. Right, guys, going to leave that question there. As a former prisoner, do you believe prisoners should be able to vote? If so, why or why not? Yes, I do believe prisoners should be allowed to vote. It'll never happen. I know that there was this like story about they was going to let like, I think about 100 prisoners vote and stuff, which wasn't for, they was going to let them out for the day and was going to let them to go and vote. Problem with that is prisoners live, some prisoners are housed hundreds of miles away from where they live, and they're not allowed, you've got to vote in the constituency from which you are from. So that was one issue that I found with it straight away. Two, the government will never give us them rights as prisoners, because obviously if you give prisoners the right to vote, you'd have to include the criminal justice system in these manifestos and stuff, right? So yeah, I would love to see prisoners being able to vote. Every prisoner, doesn't matter what their crime is, what prison they're in, what sentence they're doing, every prisoner should be able to vote. The reason why I say that is because just because a lot of people in prison don't take an interest in politics doesn't mean politics doesn't take an interest in us as people, right? I've never voted in my life. I'll only vote when prisoners are allowed to vote, which I won't hold my breath. But yeah, if you include prisoners in manifestos and stuff, we'll be on the radar, because as it stands, we don't have any rights in that regard when it comes to voting and stuff. Politics affects us all, right? Austerity is alive and kicking within prisons. I watched a documentary just the other week about a prison, about Ross Kemp in Barlinnie prison. 3 meals a day, right, to the cost of 83p. 83p for 3 meals a day for a prisoner, right? Like I say, it's not right, guys. Austerity is everywhere, including prison. It's a sad state of affairs. So politics for us is very frustrating. For me, actually, I watch a lot of current affairs programs, a lot of news programs and stuff while I was in prison. For me, honestly, politicians are corrupt, and like I say, the whole establishment's diseased and corrupt. But like I say, they're above the law, and we go to prison, they get knighthoods and earn millions of pounds and are very successful in what they're doing, and they're having the taxpayer off with expenses and stuff like that. But yeah, I would love to see prisoners being able to vote. Like I said, it would put us on the map, because currently we're well off the map, we're well off the agenda. The thing is with prisons, with these middle class MPs and stuff, right, it's throw away the key, lock them up, throw away the key, and that is it. It's the wrong attitude to have. And like I say, with prisons not working and with fewer police going to be on the streets, these people that live in bubbles know nothing of our world. But if prisoners were able to vote, would they vote? Oh, absolutely. And every party across the board, from the monster raving Luna party to the conservatives, the Tories, Labour, Green Party, we'd all have to include us, man, in their manifestos and stuff. And it'd be a great thing to see. It would improve the prison system for the better. I can understand why people don't want to give prisoners the right to vote. But like I say, people think we shouldn't have any rights, but we're still governed by the laws of this country. And just because you're in prison, I believe it's a breach of prisoners' human rights that we're not allowed to vote, in my honest opinion. But you won't get prisoners kicking off and going to the solicitor and going through legal means to try and challenge that, because the system's the system, and you can't beat the system, so to speak. But yeah, I would love to see prisoners vote, 100%. Right, next question. Do you think that the media's representations of prisons, both in news and factual representations, in fictional representations, including films and literature, are accurate? This frustrates me massively. Right, there are only about 3 journalists in this country that I respect when it comes to prison stories, right? Because they are factual, they're a true account. And then you've got the media, you've got the other media, the holiday camp media, the Butlins with bars. You've got it's a holiday camp. It's like a holiday. Oh mate, most annoying things. These journalists that write this stuff, right, have never been in prison. Right? There is actually a journalist that writes about prison, a guy called Eric Allison. He's a journalist for The Guardian. He's actually served in prison. I respect his viewpoint. He's one person that I do value. He's been there, he's done it. The depiction of prisons through the media is not accurate in any which way. If you think prisons are holiday camps, right, you tell me a holiday camp where you're locked up 22, 23 hours a day, the food quality is shocking, you have to defecate in front of your cellmate, you get strip searched, there's a suicide attempt every 5 hours, a prisoner leaves prison in a body bag every, I think 3 days on average. The mental health problems within prison, the self-harm, the spice, the violence, the attacks, the scaldings, the robberies, the stabbings. The prisons are lawless, violent places. Holiday camps, no. Just because you've got a TV in your cell, right? TVs came in, I think, in 1999, right? What do I call them? I call them distraction devices, right? The TVs are not the best, like I say, but you're in prison, you can't really complain, can you? People, oh yeah, every cell's got a PlayStation. Absolutely not. Right, you pay over the odds for the PlayStation, right? When you become enhanced, right, I think it's about 50, 60 quid for a PlayStation, right? Because obviously PlayStations 3, 4 and everything, they've all got internet access. PlayStation 2 doesn't. Again, distraction device. And you've earned the right through good behaviour to buy that PlayStation. So, all this stuff, right? If you had prisoners in prison in every cell where they wasn't allowed to have a TV and they wasn't able to buy things like a PlayStation on the canteen, you'd see more violence within prisons. You'd see more mental health. So, like I say, holiday camp, absolutely not. The depictions in films, I can't remember the last time I saw a film about an English prison, personally. I've seen documentaries. Ross Kemp did the Barlinnie one. Scottish Prison Service seems to have opened their door a bit to the cameras. I've seen 2. There's a thing called Life is Behind Bars as well that was on Channel 4. But like I say, the depictions through the media and stuff, I don't really read it literature-wise and stuff. I don't, like, apart from media and stuff. But the depictions of prisons are inaccurate, nonsense, cushy prisons, Butlins with bars, holiday camps. I wish these journalists would go and spend a year behind these bars. I'd like them to spend a week behind them same bars. See if they're still writing the same rubbish. The media bias and the rubbish that the media writes about prisons paints a picture to the law-abiding people. A lot of people are sheep and they believe everything they read in the media, right? And it then paints them a picture of what prison life is. I've been to prison, right? When I first went to prison, my attitude was, oh, well, I'm going to prison. My world had crashed down. I've been sent down. I've been remanded, right? I thought, oh, but I'll get skills, training, education. I've read all about these cushy prisons and stuff, right? I then landed at the jail. Yeah, dehumanized me, made me even more disenfranchised. The mental health that I've seen within prison, the incidents I've seen within prison will stay with me forever. The reason I'm out of prison now, but I campaign for prison reform and stuff and try to lobby MPs are because of what I've seen in prison. I'm no longer involved with prison. I can carry on my own life and forget about prison. I can't leave them people behind. When I left prison, I was over the moon to be going home. I had tears of joy because these cleaners that I'd showered with, ate with, like socialised with, played pool with, There was like a family to me, and then I left that family behind. I felt extremely guilty the day I left prison because I was leaving them behind. Do you know what I mean? That was just the reality of my surroundings and stuff, and that was the reality of prison. But listen, guys, I'm going to move on to the next question now. So I want to finish this bit, and then I'm going to move on to the last two questions. All right, guys.